A very good evening to you. Thanks for joining us on the Thursday edition of the show. I'm Yemi Adebayo. As we speak, a game currently going on in the 2020 European Championships. We'll talk about that much later. Let me attempt a quick rundown of what to expect on the show tonight. Of course, a lot of top stars pulling out of the Olympics. Neymar, Osaka, Rafael Nadal. We'll talk about all of that on the show as we move on. We'll talk about what's happening on the domestic scene as well. It's going to be interesting. We'll talk about the national trials currently going on. We'll also talk about the European Championships and, of course, the NPFL. It will get us talking. All right, so that's the outlook of the show tonight. Let me quickly, of course, introduce Bolu Omoni. He joins me on the show. Bolu, greetings to you. Thanks for finding out time to be here on the show.
Yeah, good to be here again. Over the years, decades and all, during transfer window, you're always hearing about players moving, even some move before tournaments. But now it looks like the tide is changing. It's been one manager movement to the other. And I remember the sport minister talking about the national trials that all athletes must come. And I like that. The foreign-based coach came and they are doing well. It means to a level, despite all the off-the-field drama, the guys are still coming. So definitely interesting times for Nigerian sports.
Okay. All right. So that's interesting. Let's quickly take a look at what is happening at the European Championships. Of course, the live results from the European Championship. Very interesting game currently going on. The Netherlands leading, it's halftime, leading Austria by a lone goal. A goal scored from the spot. Memphis Depay scored a penalty, and the Orange Boys are leading. Ukraine and North Macedonia. Ukraine won that game. And Denmark, of course, a tribute to Eriksen by both sides today. They won. Belgium won that game, beg your pardon, 1-2-1. But we'll still have time to talk about all of this as we move on the show. Bolu, let's start the show tonight talking about the Olympics. Hopefully, we'll get someone else who will join us and give us some of his perspectives, especially on athletics. Let's move on the show, Bolu, and just talk about the Olympics and just let you know from where we stand. 36 days to go to the biggest sporting event on the planet. Just barely over a month, and we're going to be having the Olympics. And I mean, everything looks set now and is going the way it should. Bolu, I'm always asking you if you're feeling the vibes. Maybe I should ask you that again today as well.
Well, for vibes, it's for those involved, they'll probably be feeling. For me, I think, like we said about a few weeks ago, that the Euros is now taking the attention away from the Olympics. Then one way or the other, players are finding ways to make headlines, like you said in your introduction, the Neymars, the Nadals. They're finding ways to hit the headlines, but it's just a day after, just 5 weeks away from now. And the Euros, like we said, Euros is just like 3 more weeks. When Euros is done, Euros will be completed by July 11th. Then everyone will think, oh, what next? What are we watching again? It's time for the Olympic Games. Like, you know, the Olympics is everything sports. So much more that they've decided to introduce breakdancing into it. Fine, not from this Tokyo Games, but everything. It's not, Euros is, I love football. World Cup is, I love football. But this one is every sporting event. You find days to watch everything. So when we clear up this vibe and euphoria of the Euros, I think everybody will focus so much attention. And by then, it will be just maybe 2 weeks away. Then the vibe will definitely be much. Hopefully, every other federations, other countries would have sorted their problems. The only thing we'll be thinking of is when would be the opening ceremony.
All right, it's going to be interesting. And what you have on screen is, of course, the torch relay currently going on. This is one of the positives that we have seen. The torch relay continued his journey through the Iwate prefecture today. Hills of Torch bearers ran past excited school children and adult spectators who cheered and clapped them on their run. It was day 2 of the event, with some torch bearers carrying the flame through areas that were badly hit by the 2011 tsunami. This is a good sight to behold. In this case, people actually lined up the streets. They were cheered on, there were claps. A lot of interesting things going on just to around the event. I mean, it wasn't a lonely journey. Let me just put it that way. And for those who were on this leg of the touch relay, I guess they will be very happy.
It's becoming more and more interesting by day. Remember when they started, the roads were dry.
Yeah.
Despite the dry roads, they still had their plans. They still had guys in case some 1 or 2 persons started running. But now people are on the streets, watching, cheering, waving, including school children. It means, at least if or nothing, the Koreans, the Japanese, the guys that reside in Tokyo, they are ready for the Olympic Games. They are welcoming it, cheering everybody on. I think now they are thinking of the positives now.
Yeah.
They've abandoned the thoughts of COVID-19 will disrupt. They've abandoned what may happen. Now it is when will this happen? And no matter how, despite all the restrictions, one thing is certain. They will probably make a few bucks from it. I mean the indigents. Because they will still buy things. Journalists going there will buy things. Yes, they will be restricted to where they will move, but they will buy things. So everyone is not thinking of the positives. They're not thinking, oh, okay, what should I do? Should I move away from this? Should we think about 1 or 2 things? Now the focus is the Olympic Games is coming. So they're on the streets cheering the touch relay, clapping and applauding. Even it gives the person behind the touch what they call ginger to move on, thinking, okay, there are people here. I'm not running this road alone. So the Olympic Games definitely happen in 2021.
Let's talk about Brazil. This time we'll talk about football. It's always been Brazil's ultimate desire to win gold in Olympics. They have done that already. And so one of the guys that helped them to get that done, of course, is Neymar. But the news is Brazil forward, Brazil star, Neymar will not be at the Olympics. And guess what? Dani Alves, 37-year-old Dani Alves, makes the cut for the Olympics. But for Neymar, he's not going to be there.
I don't know what Dani Alves is looking for. He's the most decorated player of all time. He has won everything, everywhere. But again, winning is never too much. Exactly, winning is never too much, and that's what he's going there to do. Neymar, well, the vibe to go is not there. They wanted. If they had lost the last Olympic game, don't be surprised. Neymar would probably have forced his way.
Will have been very motivated.
And again, it was option of either or. Even when they won it was either to go for Copa America or play for the Olympics, because the hustle, the stress of the season is there. Summer games and go for Olympics. Probably decided to choose Copa America. I'm sure his clubs would not want him to go for both. Yeah. So picking one, since we've won it already, let me just relax and let other players go. This could be another opportunity for maybe new Brazilians, and the Brazil national team are really playing well this time. So it could be another chance for them to win another Olympic gold medal. All
right, so that's it. Talking about Neymar not going to be there, but of course his PSG teammate Marquinhos will be in the Brazil squad for the Olympics as they seek to successfully defend the title they won for actually 5 years ago in their own ground. So let's move on, and of course it's now time to talk about the national trials. Got everyone excited. Of course you're going to be seeing pictures from the national trials. An interesting day was today. Some of the athletes that we've not seen in a while, a lot of them showed up. Of course the Olympics is very important to all of them. The 100 meters men was keenly watched by many. And, of course, you know that Divano Judru was not there. Raymond Ekevo was also not there. By the end of the day, it was a battle between Alaba Akintola and Enoch Adegoke. And at the end of the day, Adegoke, of course, came out on top, and he becomes, I think, the 12th Nigerian to qualify for the Olympics. And it was a very good one for him. He got the job done in 10.06 seconds.
There's nothing as beautiful as working hard and seeing your hard work pay off at the end. I was happy for him because the likes of Divine, those guys are definitely going to be. If Nigeria decides to take it, they'll probably go as independent nations. So those ones are Olympic bound. But for young guys who do, remember, it's one of the things we were sad for some of the athletes for when they decide to cancel the championships in Lagos. This is one of what these things bring for you. You never can tell. In single competitions like individual sports, you can just probably spike up something. I remember the story of Ekevo. It just came up that they pick up himself. Since then, he's not looked back, and people are picking up on him. Everyone wants to associate with him. That's what individual sport does for you. Who knows where this Alegoke can be tomorrow? He may be probably Nigeria's next Olympic medalist if he continues with this form. Yes, is it the best time? No. But the fact that it was good enough to qualify him for the event, he may just go there and wow everybody. Sometimes he may just have one bust, and that's it. So I'm happy for him. It means another medal opportunity for Nigeria. There's no guarantee he would win, but at least the more the merrier, like they say. So if he gets there, if he gives this opportunity, who knows? His opponents may have a bad day, and he may have a good day. Anything can happen.
I mean, my colleague Cecilia Omorogbe, I just quickly put out a correction for me. He said he actually finished 10.00 seconds, talking about Adegoke, who won the race. But mild drama ensued. Sheye Ogunlewe, there was the issue of where he actually finished, either in third or in fourth. I think everything was sorted out later on, but there was a bit of a drama in that one. But of course, at the end of the day, it was Enoch Adegoke who won that. Otorise Ishekiri finished in second, and Sheye Ogunlewe actually finished in third after all the drama.
Yep.
10.11 seconds.
That's the most important thing. Just find a way to read. Athletics is easy. It's easy only, especially with their lighting, the camera. You can't drag for long. You will know the timing. It may take, it's not like VAR that sometimes take forever. You don't need stress. Look at the timing, who crossed the line first. And I remember seeing the race where the guy, he just jumped. The only thing they need is what part of your body crossed the line first. So that's the only thing you need to check. And after checking, fortunately, they agreed at the end of the day, not we will get back to your fight the following day. But my excitement is we have guys who look capable of doing well at the Olympics. Again, individual sports, anything can happen. We have better players. We have better competitors, but anything can happen. I remember the race where Usain Bolt, the fastest or former fastest, still the fastest living thing or fastest human being. Of all athletes to have a false start, Usain Bolt, and he stepped out, so he had to be disqualified, and someone else won. So I hope if we get to the final, everyone gets a false start. I mean, Nigeria, so don't be angry.
So that will benefit. Let's talk about the ladies. No surprise, Blessing Okagbore showed up and showed out. Of course, won race as well.
Even got her personal best, I think, for the season. So that's good enough. Good. She has had an outstanding season, moving from one personal best to the other, winning different events. And I think she set an African record one time, just a few days after Isebrume. I hope they won't be too worked out. I hope this form will just continue with them till they get to Olympics. Because if you check Okagbare's track record, she does well till she gets to the final. There may be stage fright or whatever happens. She always finish maybe 7th or 8th. But with the form she's going into right now, well, I think to a level it won't be too much to say I'm confident she could get a medal. But it depends on, hope she will not be worked out. Hope she will not be overworked, too much preparation and everything can affect you, maybe tiredness or something. But with the form she's going with now, you won't be surprised if Okagbare picks up anything.
My wish for her has always been that she runs her best race when it matters most.
When it matters, yeah.
She can beat the best. She has shown that many times. Here, like you said, her personal best, she ran 10.63 seconds to win the women's 100 meters title at the national trials. Still a lot of things to look forward to at the national trials. Four-day events, and some other events would be decided later on. But I'm very happy. I'm very happy that she's showing us a glimpse of what to expect at the Olympics. And I do hope we'll probably see some celebration and a lot of happiness at the Olympics.
It will be good for the national anthem to be played, but even if it's not played so long on the stage, I can't remember the exact Olympics where you saw the person who finished first and second were just there. But the Nigerian who finished third, you could see the excitement. The fact that I'm here means I probably beat my expectations. So I won't mind I don't want us to win all bronze, but I won't mind if we even have maybe 10 to 15 bronze medals. It shows progress. Because going by our last event, anything this time around is a success. But again, you always, if, for example, you plan to finish 10, for whatever reason, you just spike up to that 10, you would want to do more. And that's what we are setting target. We are not going for targets of let's just do our best. No, we want to win something. Singing our national anthem is probably high. It will be lovely, especially for the likes of wrestling, but win something, go to the Olympic Games. This may be the last chance for some of them. So give your best, win something. Okagbare, the likes of Philly, Isebrume, and Co. We believe in you, and hopefully our belief would be celebrated at the end of the day.
All right, hopefully our belief will be celebrated at the end of the day. Like we said, still a couple of days, 3 more days of athletics action. And at the end of the day, some athletes will also qualify. Any updates from Team Nigeria? You know, I'm seeing all of this, and I'm hoping that we're seeing other countries unveil their uniform, unveil all of this. I'm looking forward to see the attire Nigeria will go in?
Well, sadly, it looks like we'll have to wait for a while. After the drama over the weekend, Monday elections and everything, two factions, we don't even know what to believe anymore. But outside the factional drama, because everything still boils down to it, there were reports that the Puma dude were talking about.
You're going to say this when we return from the break. I know you're onto something, and it's going to be interesting to get the full gist. But we need to go on a break right about now. When we return from that break, we'll still talk some more on athletics. Then, of course, we'll go on to talk about football on the domestic scene and finish it all up with the European Championships. Once again. All right, welcome back. Let's move on the show. But before we leave the little matter of athletics, we're talking about, we've moved away from the field. We're talking about attires. We've been here to talk about the US, the Germans, the Australians, how they were kitted for the games. And we're looking forward to how Team Nigeria would leave the shores of the country and go to the Olympics.
Well, like I said earlier, it feels like for now we'll still keep waiting. We had reports that the AFN signed something illegal, but that the AFN signed the deal with the Puma to get the jerseys. On Monday, we heard they received the kits. Then suddenly we saw another report that says from the sport ministry that they won't use that kit. Still on this factional issue and everything. And like we always say, athletes will be the ones to suffer every day, because if as of now, they still don't know what they wear, then when will they know? When will they even test to know their size? What will fit me? Hope we will probably go there. Remember Falcons that traveled one time wearing different country national team jerseys? I hope they sort this out, because the last report was they are looking for what to wear. They are looking for maybe the manufacturing company or wherever that will help them. If as of now, we are saying, I hope they get it. We want to see. One thing is sure, they wear green and white. So what type of designer, what kind of attire, we don't know yet. But they wear green and white.
Okay, all right. So that's it. 36 days to go to the Olympics. Still some questions left unanswered with regards to Team Nigeria. Hopefully we'll get our house in order, and so that the athletes do not suffer. You would expect that 36 days to the Olympics, we're not going to be having all of these issues that we're having. But I'm hoping we'll be able to put our house in order and not shoot ourselves in the foot as we usually do. But let's move on and talk about the Nigeria Professional Football League. That's our next port of call. And of course, that also is not without its issues as well. But let's move on. We'll talk about what you have on your screen. Eimba and Rangers, it all ended 2-1 in favor of the Aba Elephants.
If anyone needs that victory to Eimba, they've been, what should I say, poor kind of. So usually since they are poor outing on the continent or after being eliminated from the continent, it's been up and down for them. And in recent times, Eimba have a terrible record in terms of Oriental Derby. Especially against Heartland, they've not scored in about 500 minutes. They just find ways not to win whenever they play the Oriental Derby. So this was a much-needed victory for them. And thankfully, they found the winner, and that's the most important thing. Now the charge of, well, if they win all their outstanding matches, they may have the chance to maybe challenge Akwa United and Plateau United. Akwa United and Kano Pillars for the title, but it depends. This game, they scored first very early in the game. I don't know why Victor Mboma is always scoring first for him, but in recent games, always scoring their first goals. Either they lose or win. It's been the hero for them. Then Israel Abia that went AWOL from Sunshine that joined them. Rangers got the second goal for them. Then Cyril Lesema scored the winning goal just after 30 minutes, and that was it. I think I'm happy for Eimba that they got their needed win. But again, will the form continue, or they just, maybe it's just a flash. But if there's any chance of defending their title, they need to start winning games, and this is one of the games they need to start winning. But how will they fare going forward? Because if they keep drawing or losing away from home, I think the league will be between Akwa United and Kano Pillars. All
right, so we'll see. We'll see what happens. A lot of people already talking about Akwa United as title contenders. I think they are also title contenders in Bolu's book. All right, let's move on. Still talking about the NPFL. Let's talk about some of the things, the ugly side of the game, some of the things we don't like to report, but we have to, because it is grabbing the headlines. Instead of talking about the round letter game, goals scored, vital statistics, we're here talking about issues grabbing the headlines. And let's just quickly tell you that the Nigerian Football Federation Disciplinary Committee has begun hearing into the various disciplinary issues and clear rule breaches involving the NPFL match between FC Ifeanyi Ubah and MFM and other related issues surrounding Nigerian football. As you know, Ifeanyi Ubah were banished to Nnamdi Azikiwe Stadium, Enugu State, for 2 matches by the League Management Company, LMC, after they assaulted match officials during their matchday 15 fixture against Rivers United at the Ifeanyi Ubah International Stadium. The Inewi-based team were expected to play 2 away matches at the Nnamdi Azikiwe Stadium. They honored the first game against Jigawa Golden Stars, but failed to show up for the second one against MFC DOS. They forfeited 3 points and 3 goals to the Lagos-based team after they were walked over by the match officials who were present in Enugu. MFM Director of Football, Davidson Adejuwon, has expressed confidence in the NFF Disciplinary Committee to uphold the statutes in the interest of Nigerian football. I mean, you could go on and on about all of these issues, and it's not pleasing. All right, but let's just quickly listen to the MFM director of football on issues related to crowd trouble and the game that didn't get to be played against FC Ifeanyi Ubah. We'll listen to that. We'll come back for more Sports Tonight.
Like you rightly know, Lagos is not a place where you can do anything and hide. You know, people have said which is a far is no man's land. It belongs to nobody. It belongs to everybody. You know, that is on the side of it. There are real negotiations. So let me just say that quickly. But again, talking about fans and issue of encroachment, we've been very peaceful here. You know, there are maybe some times where you have excess of some persons, and we know that the security will always rise. I see a lot of times that journalists will also complain, this crowd, that crowd, and the security people are called upon, and so far so good. We have played how many matches now? There have not been any incidents of any. So I think it's for us to maintain the momentum, to keep our guys, you know, under control, and they've been very understanding, and just to keep it that way. That particular incident by now should have been resolved because LMC has taken decision on it, and not just any decision based on sentiment, but based on the rules, you know, guiding the league. All the officials, the assessor, the match com, the all referee, they were all at Enugu. The Enugu State FA were on ground to carry out their functions. So it just only Ifeanyi Ubah that was absent, and they were wondering what happened. Assuming it was a security issue or any other thing, we will understand that, okay, maybe. But for them to say that they are not aware, that is quite, you know, funny. Now that they have appealed, it's their right, because the rule also allows for it. If they are convinced they have a genuine ground to appeal, it's their right. But I doubt it. I doubt it that the appeal will be able to succeed, because the rule says that if you do not have a convincing reason not to honor your match, you forfeit your point. It's only when there are genuine cases where people can see that they may want to consider you for a rescheduled match, where you need to pay penalty like to cover the expenses of the other team. But in this case, there is nothing Ifeanyi Ubah will tell that is justifiable. And to that extent, I expect that the NFF Disciplinary Committee will also look into the facts, look into the rules, and the evidences are bound, and I don't think they will do otherwise from what LMC has done.
All right, there you have it. Bolu, you listened to everything you heard. So what's your assessment of the situation and the things you expect to see?
Well, I was surprised initially when I heard there was another disciplinary committee set up for this. What are you setting up? The rule books is clear. Even though sometimes we don't go beyond. If we are going by a rule book, Kano Pillars should have lost 3 points automatically, because I remember NFF sending a mail sometimes last week or 2 weeks that any team that allows fans, you get deducted 3 points and you lose that game minus 3 goals. Well, I think every team in the NPFL will be losing that at home, only the ones they see on camera. But to this one, it's clear. I remember what even they themselves, Ifeanyi Ubah, said that, okay, we got the mail. We thought after we told NFF, LMC, we are clear, we thought they sent us a mail. They said point blank that they sent us a mail not to stay in Nnewi. Or they decided to stay. So like he rightly said, there's nothing new there. If there's a genuine reason, maybe for, God forbid, accident, or maybe something happened that unavoidable, you understand. But this one, they decided to remain at Nnewi and not go to Enugu. So that's their problem. I don't think there's any committee. The one I'm also surprised at for committee issue that we're waiting for final say is the Remo and insurance. That's what we're waiting. That's what I'm waiting for. They said they will set up, or the disciplinary committee will meet today and decide, although we are still waiting for the final report on what to do. That's genuine. I understand, but for this one, I think there's nothing new to say about it. They refused to turn up for their game. They lost 3. If there's anything, they probably should be fined as well. I hope that's also in the rule book, but I don't think Ifeanyiwa can win this case because it was after they confessed to receiving a mail, deciding not to go. That's when they are trying to now play the politics of they are against private clubs. No, nobody's against you, at least not in this case. You messed up yourself and you face the drama yourself.
All right, so I guess it's better left where it is right now. So let's quickly move on the show and go to the European Championships. But just before we go there, let me just quickly say that at some point we thought we were going to have a Zoom interview, but obviously it's not possible as it is, so we can't have the discussion on athletics. I was hoping Bambo Akoni would join us, but due to technical issues, we can't have that discussion. Hopefully we get to do that some other time. So let's move on and talk about the European Championships and what is currently going on as we speak. Let's go there now and see. It's live for the Orange Boys. They've been able to make it 2. Memphis Depay got them ahead earlier and a goal has been added. And if he heads this way, they've qualified.
The way the Euros is now, just try and win your 2 games. You may lose 2 games and still qualify. Remember, there's best third, but don't concede too much. So the way things stand now, Netherlands 6 points, and they'll be +3. So whatever happens in their last game, even if they lose by 1,000 goals, if it stands like this, they are already through to the next round. So they'll be the 3rd tip. Remember, Italy have qualified. Belgium joined them earlier today. Now Netherlands, I don't think they'll lose this game. I don't even think they'll draw, except something extraordinary happens. Yes, Austria, they are trying, but I don't think they are the team to come back from 2 goals down against Netherlands and win that game. I tell people, Alaba is a brilliant, one of the best left back in the world. He's an okay midfielder when he plays in the midfield, but in that central defense, he is just below average. And we saw it again today. First 10 minutes or thereabout, terrible blunder for me. Foul, got the penalty, and since then, no turning back. And now they've considered the second goal. So they have to they can still qualify themselves because they have 3 points. That's if they end up losing this game. So good tournament so far.
All right, so that's it for the Dutch. It appears like if this game ends this way, they will qualify. There's Dumfries scored the second goal for the Orange Boys in the 67th minute. But some people have said the Dutch haven't really met the expectations of a lot of people at this tournament. They're winning games, but I mean, not like the sides we saw in 1988, for instance, the Euro 2000 squad, for instance. Even the 2016 squad that didn't go too far, but had a lot of stars in it.
Well, for this one, sometimes when you have your best players, you don't. Spain comes to mind. People call the Spanish team that won the golden generation, but going by individual brilliance, performance, talent, they are probably not the best in terms of performance individually, but those guys didn't win. Spain for years, at least till I started following football, they were always among the favorites, but they never win anything until some guys just came up and they started doing well. So for the Dutch, who knows, this may be... I don't think so, actually. I think I'm exaggerating. I don't think these guys will win this tournament. I don't think they are good enough. Going by their first game against Ukraine, thanks to Ukraine goalkeeper Bushan, they would have drawn that game despite leading to no. That means I shouldn't even write off Austria in this game. The way, especially since Ronald Koeman left there, when he took over, they were rising steadily. But immediately he stepped down to join Barcelona. It feels like the boy is not the man for the job. But again, who knows? Portugal struggled all through last tournament. They drew their 3 group games. I think 2 of their games to the final, they drew and won extra time and penalties. But they became the champions. So nobody cares about how you win. Just win your game. And for now, the Dutch side are winning their game.
All right, for now, the Dutch side are winning. Let's play it out for the Danes with all of their issues. And, of course, they were up against Belgium. Belgium's another side a lot of people expect a lot from, but some of their stars are just gradually recovering. Eden Hazard not at his best, Kevin De Bruyne not at, Axel Witsel also not at his best. These are the guys that a lot is expected from. Kevin De Bruyne scored in this game. Axel Witsel came on. Torgan Hazard also scored. But the solidarity is something that's grabbing the headlines. Everybody showing support for Eriksen. Even when a goal was scored, some of them subdued the celebration out of respect to Eriksen. But for all his words, the Belgians won the game 2-1.
And in the 10th minute, everyone had a minute applause for Eriksen. Sometimes things like this show life is beyond football. Football is key, it's beautiful, it's life to many people. But when real life matters show, you will know football is definitely secondary. And I like that everyone had the same mind, both the Belgians and the Danes. They can decide to, it's not our business. But before the game, I think as of yesterday, they agreed that, okay, on the 10th minute, we'll do an applause for Eriksen. He deserves it. 1 minute out of a football match wouldn't kill us. And beautiful game. The Hazard brothers were involved. And Hazard, De Bruyne, I mean Eden Hazard this time, De Bruyne, and like Service showed why they are probably the key players in this squad. Lukaku is the appointment. Nobody can take it away from him. But when those guys are involved, with Witsel in the team, you know your midfield is solid. You know your back four, there's a shield. Tielemans is like a Toni Kroos. He loves to drop deep. Boy, he is not a defensive midfielder.
It's not a shield.
Kusu is blunder for the first goal, for the only goal for Denmark in that game. But when Witsel came on, you know there's a shield for the back three. Then De Bruyne Hazard had a different spice to the attack entirely. And both of them were involved in the 2 goals. Beautiful game of play for them. They showed why they are the world #1. Everybody think you can score 4-5 goals in every game. No. The most important thing is win. And that's what Portugal did today. And they are also in the second round after they qualified.
So in this regard, have the Belgians met your expectation?
Well, they've won their first 2 games. You can't take anything away from it. But it depends on what happens from the knockout stages. That's where you know the difference between boys and men. That's where your mentality changes. That's why you see some teams that they will be terrible in the group stage. Even the year Spain won, they lost their first game in the group stage. I mean the World Cup. But suddenly they started picking themselves up 1-0. They win all the possession, scored just 1 goal, defend well, and they were world champions at day. So it depends on what happens from the knockout stage. Remember the last Euros, they lost to, of all teams, Wales. No disrespect to Wales. They were supposed to beat Wales in that game. So that's when you know if they're actually meeting expectations. There are talks of this is probably the last chance for them to win
this golden generation.
Yeah, this generation to win a major title. If they do not, who knows? Well, maybe the UEFA Nations League is still available. But they've progressed to the second round now. They can decide to bring changes to their squad for the final game, whatever happens. But from the knockout stage, serious business starts. No second chance, no second opportunity. If you lose, you are living in, well, if you are playing in your hometown, you just stroll to your house.
Just go back home. All right. Okay, so let's talk about the other game played today. While we're talking about it, we're keeping our eye on what is going on between the Orange Boys and the Austrians. Over 80 minutes of football played in that game. It's still 2-0 in that game. The Dutch side currently leading in that. We'll be your eyes and your ears. If anything happens, we'll let you know. But let's move on and talk about Ukraine and not Macedonia. Not Macedonia has lost their 2 games, but I've been mightily impressed with their fighting spirit. And this game could have, I mean, it could have gone either way. The North Macedonians, even though first time on a big stage, led by Goran Pandev, I think they should get some credit for fighting bravely against big sides. But Yarmolenko and his colleagues did the job, took their chances, the few chances that they had, took it. And, I mean, the only thing the North Macedonians could get was just a solitary goal, which wasn't enough to get something from that game.
Yeah, from Leeds United, Alioski. He even missed the penalty, then scored from a rebound. Yeah. And unfortunately, Ruslan Milanovsky as well for Atalanta after a brilliance. He also missed his penalty, but still ended 2-1 for them. If you check the teams that have not won any point this season, they've actually played brilliant football. Even Hungary against Portugal, they were brilliant. Unfortunately, football is not all about how you play. But no one will see the 2 North Macedonians game and believe they are just here to add points. No, they played very, very good football. But it's a new opening for them. It's a new opportunity. Many of the guys in this squad will never make the Euros again. If for nobody, at least Goran Pandev is never coming for another tournament. But it opens them up to better chances that we can do more. Now that they are here, they have to find ways to learn how to play tournaments like this. And who knows, they may be the next Iceland for the other events. But good turnout for Ukraine. They needed that win. After the performance against the Dutch side, they could have gotten a point, but their goalkeeper decided to dash Netherlands all 3 points with a poor pass. But again, they need to win this game. They needed all 3 points, and they got the 3 points. I can't wait for the final group game between Austria and Ukraine. Why? Because both of them are on 3 points. A draw should take both of them through. One will qualify directly, the third one maybe through best loser. But any one of them who loses that game may have a huge problem. But again, it is what it is. It's football. Give your best. You don't play to draw. You always play to win every game, then you take whatever happens after 90 minutes.
All right, so you take whatever happens after 90 minutes. Let's take a look at what's going to happen tomorrow at the Euros. We have looked at what happened today. It's time to take a look at what's going to happen tomorrow. And there you have Sweden and Slovakia, Croatia and Czech Republic, and of course England and Scotland. These are the games to be played tomorrow. The England-Scotland game has been hyped up, and sometimes I look at the hype. I remember when both sides played, I think as a very young person at Euro 96, and the guys from England won that game 2-0. I think Paul Gascoigne scored on that day. I remember. But what I'm just trying to say, the build-up is always massive. You think it's going to be a game between maybe France and Germany.
Maybe a classical.
You know, the rivalry. But looking at both sides, to me, England are on the ascendancy.
I think the reason for the hype, I was checking their head-to-head today. I think it's because of the history.
Yeah.
They've played, I don't think any international game has been played as much as it. They played over 100 games, 114 matches between them. And the win difference is not much. England 48, Scotland 41. I was shocked when I saw that. Then 25 draws between them. So it's not, but like you rightly said, England, the last time they beat England was, I think, 1999. So I don't think it's going to change tomorrow. I still believe England will win. England are not spectacular, no doubt with that. But I think Scotland are not the team to stop them. And for England, they will likely have Harry Maguire and Henderson fully fit for that game. So more positives for them. So England should win that game. Another one to look out for is the Czech Republic-Croatia game. Czech won their first game against this same Scotland, and Croatia narrowly lost to England. They need to bounce back. And if there's a chance to do it, it's definitely against Czech Republic. But Czech Republic just need to sit back and pick them on the break. If Croatia are not careful, they may end up losing their second game.
Oh, that's interesting. Maybe we should just take a look at those fixtures again and listen to what Bolu has to say. You've made some bold calls. What about Sweden and Slovakia?
Well, Sweden are... I was surprised the way people were talking about the Sweden's game the last time. That they were... You don't know... If you know Sweden defensive. They don't concede much because they are big. You will hardly score them with set pieces. You can't cross into that box and head the ball because they are huge.
I think it's ingrained in them.
Yeah,
they know how to deal
generation. Yeah, they know how. Look at what they played against. Spain had over 400 passes at halftime, and they didn't score. If there was anything that could have won that game,
Sweden had the best chance.
They had the best. Berg, the captain on the night, and even Llorente could have scored an own goal in that game. So they know what to do. Just sit back, soak in the pressure. There are some teams they can't soak any pressure. 200 minutes, these guys are still taking in the pressure. Then find ways to break you. Ishak is fast and is strong. Against any defense, you know you're in trouble. So while attacking the Swedish guys, you still be thinking behind yourself that these guys can pick us on a break. And I think I won't be surprised if Sweden should defeat Czech Republic. But again, Czech just need to sit back as well. But both teams can sit all 90 minutes. One of them will end up coming out to try and get a goal in that game. And the game between Slovakia, Spain and Poland, although that's still far, I think that's on Saturday, but that's also a game in that group to look out for because Poland lost their first game and Spain need to win as well. So I think the Euros is just becoming more and more interesting by then. This is what we want to enjoy. Unfortunately, every continent is playing except from Africa.
Okay, before we go to Copa America, which is likely going to be our parting shot on tonight's show, you've seen everybody once. We've seen all the teams at least play once. So is it enough to assess and say, now I could say these are the real contenders and these are the ones with the outside chance? In any of those two, where will you place England? First off.
I always see England as a qualifiers team. They find ways to... England win almost all their qualifying games. They don't lose. They hardly draw points, even a draw. But then when they get to competition, but they surprised me at the last event, getting to semi-final. That's probably one of the reasons why Southgate still has his job. But they've always had the players. They always have the players. But maybe it is coaching or the mindset. But my favorites before now, this tournament was Portugal and France.
No, we'll get to that. I want to stick with England. Gareth Southgate said if they don't get to the semi-final, he will consider this campaign as a failure.
What that means is it sees them as the top 4 ranked team in the world, or in Europe at least. And that's what they're saying, that they have to get there. But going by, I think when we see the breakouts from the second round, know who will play who if who wins. That's when we'll now
And
start
the
deciding,
roots.
yeah, do they have a better chance? But for now, I don't think anything is stopping them from that group stage. They will definitely qualify. Then when we see, are they qualifying as first or second? Who will they play? If they win, then we'll start thinking, do these guys have a chance? But as of now, it's still hard to call. You never can. They may play Italy in the next round and lose. They may play France in the next round, depending on the position everyone finishes. So as of now, I think I still can't make a call if they will get through to the semi-final. But based on what we've seen for now, I think Italy should be a team everyone should look out for.
Okay, do you still agree with a lot of people who feel it's Le Blues tournament to lose?
It's been France and Portugal for me, defending champions of the world and defending champions of Euros. So going by what Portugal did, they showed football is played in 90 minutes. 83 minutes was goalless, and before the end of the game, they scored 3 goals. Don't give them any chance, especially while Ronaldo is still on. You know you are in trouble. And for France, based on quality, based on players, based on performance, even the last season, there are lots of goals in that game. And the fact that they scored 1 goal against Germany means kudos to the Germans. So I've seen other teams twice, but when everyone played 2 games, I think from there, people will start making maybe 1 or 2 calls. Is there chance? Is there chance? But first games could be fluke. But when second games become fluke, and the third game also becomes fluke, then something is definitely wrong with you.
All right, our parting shot on the show, Bolu, before I let you go. Copa America, let's go there quickly. Tonight's fixture, Colombia, Venezuela. Of course, COVID-19 has grabbed the headlines. You know, even Lionel Messi says he's afraid of contracting COVID-19. But your thoughts before we go, Colombia and Venezuela.
Well, Colombia are one of the few teams that have won any game in this year's Cup. Copa America has probably not been this poor in terms of goals, performance, results. It's been many draws. That's why I will be shocked if Brazil end up running through everyone. Even in their South American qualifiers, only Brazil have won all. Argentina have drawn, I think, 3 or 4 straight games now without victory. But again, group stages are always wet, try and qualify, but you will expect Colombia to win. Despite dropping hammers and everything, they still find ways to play their impressive kind of football, but the goals are just not come. So against Venezuela, who are bottom of their group, you still expect, no matter how little, you still expect Colombia to pick up 3 points.
All right, quality of play as we go. Have you been impressed?
So for Copa America, I think I've been impressed with Brazil. Very Brazil. Argentina, it's just been... Messi steps up when you expect them. When he's not, same old story. They just play one way. You can't say maybe because they played their old rival Chile. But we are still here. They'll play again this weekend, I think tomorrow. So from there, after 2-3 games, they have 5 in their group. Everything about South America is always tough. They have 5 in their group. When they keep moving on from maybe 1, 2, 3 games, we'll decide. But for now, Brazil have continued from where they left off in the South American qualifiers, even to the Copa America.
Okay, all right. That's a good place to leave it on the show. That's going to be a wrap on the show tonight. First, I want to thank Bolu, Moni, for finding out time to be here.
Always a pleasure.
Always fun having you with me. And it's also good to know that you're there watching everything we're bringing to you on Sports Tonight. Still one more edition of the show for this week. We hope tonight was worth your while. We'll be back here again tomorrow. I'm Emi Adebayo. Bye-bye now.